What's up, y'all? It's Rachel back with another episode of Reminders that Improve Communication Skills. So, today I'm going to talk about agreements. So, we can all agree that agreements are important in life when it comes to, if we can have agreement on important matters, we need agreement on important matters, right, for it to work. So if we agree to get married, then we generally agree prior how many kids we're going to have, where we're going to live. Certain things you need to come to an agreement about in order for it to work, right? And agreement in language is also important. I'm going to read from my notes because I haven't memorized each segue, but we're going to be talking about agreement in language. So, agreement in language, as I said, is very important. Yet there are several disagreements that often pop up when we're using language. One such area is seen in the sentence, and it has to do with the subject and the object of the sentence, right? So, as a reminder, a sentence is a word or group of words that express a complete thought. And a sentence can even be one word, such as run, walk, right? But it has to be a complete thought. So, of course, we're more accustomed to sentences that have more than one word, right? So, for example, you may say, he waits in line at the grocery store. He waits in line at the bus stop. I want to talk about the simplest form of the sentence, right? And how agreement in a sentence works. So the simplest sentence contains a subject and an object. The subject part of the sentence is a word that's a noun or a pronoun, right? As a reminder, for example, James, New York, wood, cat. Like I said, I'm going to refer to my notes just because it makes it more seamless. Maybe I'll get to a point where I memorize every single thing, right? But sometimes for variety's sake, if you don't want to use the noun, you can use a pronoun. So as a reminder, a pronoun is a word that replaces the noun. For example, he, she, they, them. So instead of saying the food is on the table, you may say it is on the table. Instead of saying James is walking, you may say he is walking, right? So let's now move on to the object part of the sentence. The object part of the sentence is a verb. And as a reminder, a verb is a word that is an action or doing word. For example, run or walk. You're doing some sort of an action, right? The verb can also be a word that expresses state of being. For example, am, is, are. Now, to agreement in a sentence, the subject must agree with the object. So that means if the subject is singular, the object must be singular. So, for example, you can say, the girl runs. In cases where the subject is plural, the object of the sentence, the verb, must also be in plural form, right? In order for there to be subject and verb agreement. For example, the girls run, right? So some people might look at the S on the verb runs and think, oh, that's plural because the noun usually adds an S, to make the plural form. And with regards to the second example that I gave, the girls run, one might be tempted to look at the absence of the S on the verb and think the verb is singular, right? So because of this, and to avoid any confusion, especially if you're learning the language, learning, these are reminders, as I said, for some of us. But in another video, I will address singular and plural forms of nouns and verbs. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like.